News Central now at this hour begins with developments in Osun State, where the All Progressives Congress in the state has instructed local government chairmen reinstated by the Court of Appeal on February 10 to resume duties on Monday. In a statement issued on Sunday by the APC's Director of Media and Information, Kola Olabisi, the party dismissed social media reports advising the chairman against returning to office, labeling them as fake news propagated by anti-democratic elements. The APC reaffirmed its commitment to the rule of law and urged security agencies to ensure peace across the local councils. It also cautioned parents to prevent their children from being used as political thugs, emphasizing the need for calm and order in the state. Meanwhile, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has directed newly elected local government chairmen to steer clear of council secretariats to prevent unrest. Speaking as their swearing-in on Sunday, Adeleke urged the 30 chairmen and their deputies to focus on community development and uphold the PDP's manifesto. He praised the peaceful electoral process, commended security agencies, and thanked President Bola Tinubu for maintaining stability. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde also addressed the event, warning against political violence and urging officials to serve the grassroots diligently. The Osun State Independent Electoral Commission declared PDP candidates winners of all 332 councillorship and 30 chairmanship seats. In the state, that is Osun State, the Independent Electoral Commission on Sunday presented certificates of return to the newly elected chairman of the state's 30 local government councils. The People's Democratic Party dominated the elections, winning all chairmanship and councillorship positions in the southwestern states. OCEC Chairman Barrister Ashim Abioye congratulated the elected officials, urging them to serve the people with integrity. In a statement, the PDP commended the voters for peacefully exercising their democratic rights despite challenges, including harassment by security agents. Party Chairman Honorable Sunday BC praised the electorate for resisting attempts to derail the elections and condemned violence during the polls, calling for justice for the victims. And now to discuss this and the latest developments in Osun State, we're joined by a lawyer and a political analyst. Festus Ogun, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's understand your interpretation of the Court of Appeal's decision to reinstate the APC local government chairman in Osun State, despite the election being held.
Well, the judgment of the Court of Appeal in the matter earlier initiated by the PDP at the trial court is very clear. The Court of Appeal simply stated that the Federal High Court that gave the judgment that initially sacked the earlier elected local government chairman was null and void on the basis that the Federal High Court lacks the jurisdiction to have entertained the matter in the first place. And that stemmed from the fact that as at the time the PDP went to court to challenge the election conducted under Oyetola's administration, there was no reasonable cause of action. Not only that, at that material time, the matter was filed pursuant to a repealed law. But beyond the Court of Appeal judgment delivered in February 10, we must not forget that there is also an APP judgment, a judgment obtained by the Action People's Party in November 2022. In that said judgment, the Court of Appeal equally dismissed the appeal filed by the APC. So what it implies is that as of today, the Court of Appeal, on the one hand, said, look, the action filed by the PDP nullifying the election of the earlier elected candidates should be struck out for being incompetent. On the other hand, the APP judgment that nullified the election still stand because the appeal filed by the APC was dismissed by the Court of Appeal. So as of today, our own approach, our own modest interpretation is that that judgment of the APP nullifying the election of, APC members who were elected as chairman and local and councillors remain nullified.
Okay,
which
so
is why, in our respectful view, the election conducted by the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission was very imperative and was, necessary as a matter of law, because by dint of the judgments delivered by the Supreme Court last year, it is now very important for there to be a democratically elected local government executive, which is why I believe, not only Osun states, all states in Nigeria must conduct local government elections to put in place democratically elected executive in place of caretaker chairman who are not, known to law.
Okay, so just to be sure or to be categorical about this, we're talking about local government elections. Which court should have precedence in terms of court judgments when it has to do with grassroots government?
So there is no dilly-dally about this. There is no confusion about this. To my mind, the nature of the matter that was litigated at the Federal High Court, which was on the basis that the OSEC in 2022 did not comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act, because by date of the Electoral Act 2022, which is the extant electoral law in Nigeria, any state electoral commission who is to conduct election must ensure that the conduct of the election, the procedure of the election, is not in conflict, is not inconsistent with the provisions of the Electoral Act as it relates to election in the federal of area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. So the Electoral Act 2022 has created a new jurisprudence which states essentially that anything you want to do in your state must conform with what the Electoral Act provides for election into area councils in FCT. So if a dispute arises from the interpretation of the Electoral Act 2022, you have to go to the Federal High Court. So the Federal High Court has jurisdiction to entertain matters of that nature.
Okay.
But anything outside that, you go to the State High Court. But when you are saying that, look, these people have not complied with the provision of the Electoral Act, because the Electoral Act says that the electoral laws of states cannot be made in non-compliance or in non-conformity with the new provisions of the Electoral Act as it relates to the area council of the FCT. That provides like a guideline. You cannot go outside that guideline. So if you go outside that guideline, you can approach the Federal High Court because you are inviting the Federal High Court to interpret a federal legislation. So I believe the Federal High Court has jurisdiction on that kind of matter. Every other matters has to go to the State High Court.
All right, so now how might this standoff that we're seeing between the PDP-led state government and the APC reinstated chairman, so to speak, how do you think it would affect grassroots governance in Osun State?
When two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. I sincerely believe that the political actors in Osun State must prioritize the security and welfare of their people. We cannot afford to have a repeat of Operation Wet here in Osun State. When you look at the records, Osun State is one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. We cannot allow desperate politicians to turn the state to a theater of war. I do not think there is any confusion, if you ask me. I sincerely believe that the judgment is clear.
Okay.
If a judgment says, oh, if the Court of Appeal says the PDP case ought not to have been entertained by the trial court, we must not forget that there is an APP case that says that election remained nullified, and as of today, that APP case has not been upturned.
Okay.
So I don't see any reason, and I don't see any basis why the APC should resort to self-help. If at all they intend to even challenge, to even intend to get to office, there is a procedure for enforcement of judgment, which I think they ought to follow through. We cannot afford to resort to gangsterism. At the end of the day, it is our people that would suffer.
All right, thank you so much, Festus Ogun, a lawyer and political analyst, for sharing this legal aspect of your insights with us on the news. We appreciate that.
Thank you for that.
We move away from that to tell you that the implementation of local government autonomy in Nigeria remains stalled 7 months after the Supreme Court ordered direct funding to local councils, despite the July 2024 ruling mandating that allocations bypass state governments. Legal experts say both federal and state authorities are delaying compliance, undermining the judiciary's authority. The Supreme Court, led by Justice Emmanuel Agim, declared that withholding local government funds is unconstitutional and barred states from appointing caretaker committees. However, the federal government's 3-month moratorium and ongoing pushback from state governors have slowed progress. Analysts warn that continued delays not only defy the Supreme Court, but also threatens democratic governance at the grassroots level. Earlier, a lawyer and political analyst Dayo Ajibola shared his thoughts on this development.
Position is so clear that to every designing mind, our governors, I said it here on this TV station at the start of this discourse when the judgment just came out newly, that we should expect the governors to fight back. They will never want the implementation of all these position of the Supreme Court, because the local government to them is where they are getting their cow, their whatever from. The money of the local government is what they are using to for their own political ends and economic well-being in quote. You know, I said it to the extent that I was saying that the EFCC position should be, you know, made more powerful on local government vis-a-vis monitoring local government funds, how it is spent and what have you. But today, because the governors have now reached a kind of a hard position on them, sequel to the Supreme Court position, they are now trying to conduct election. However, a kangaroo or what have you election just for them to have their way.
And I'll tell you that the remains of the former Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, former military governor and retired senior military officer, Lieutenant General Jeremiah Hussaini, have been committed to Mother Earth in his home, Langtan local government in Plateau State, with full military honors. Correspondent Chizoba Anyowe reports that family, friends, associates, close allies, government officials at all levels gathered in Plateau State for the funeral service at the Church of Christ in Nations Headquarters, Langtan North Local Government Area, represented by Nentawe Yowada, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. President Bola Tinubu condoled with the bereaved family, saying the country will miss the general.
His life for this country, through the war, from different war that he served the country, defended Nigeria to be one. He stood for this country and put his life on the line that all of us should live. That's what General Hussaini has done to this country and to Nigeria. And for us up here at the national level, we bring
that from dust we came and unto dust we shall return. Late Lieutenant General Jeremiah Timbut Husseini retired has bowed to Mother Earth. His death is a great loss to his family, the Nigerian Army, and the nation in general. We love you, General, but God loves you more.
You're watching News Central now. We'll go on a short break. When we return, heightened security as Lucky Aiyedatiwa is set to be sworn in today as the governor of Ondo State. We'll bring you the details and more after this short time out. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. In southwest Nigeria, Ondo State Police Commissioner Wilfred Afolabi has ordered heightened security around the venue for Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's swearing-in today. In a statement issued by police spokesperson Fumilayo Odunlami, Afolabi said the security deployment is aimed at ensuring the safety of attendees and the smooth conduct of the event. He directed that VIP escorts must not enter the venue with rifles but may remain at designated perimeter areas. Motorists have been advised to use alternative routes to reduce congestion, while vehicle owners near the stadium should park in secure locations. All security agencies will be on ground to enforce compliance and maintain order. In a related development and talking politics, former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, has urged members of the People's Democratic Party to prioritize unity and stability within the party. Speaking at the South-South Zonal Congress in Calabar, Duke emphasized that internal divisions and defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress threaten the PDP's future, but unity could restore its influence. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, defended his role in the APC-led government, denying allegations of anti-party activities. Wike accused the PDP of hypocrisy, highlighting similar actions by other party leaders, insisted that no one could intimidate him, and vowed to continue fighting until the right thing is done. Away from that, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has flagged off the repair and construction works of the first and second phase of the Shagamu interchange to Ore Expressway. The minister, during the flagging off ceremony in Ogun State, says that President Bola Tinubu is committed to building quality road infrastructure to ease the burdens on citizens in line with the renewed hope agenda.
Lagos-Ibadan is a bit complex, but I will explain it in 4 sections. The first section is the one of Beja, and that is called phase 1. And Beja, completed their own job. Then the same phase 1 section 2 is Baru Sisi. The bound going to Ibadan is badly failed. Over 30% of that road is failed. This is a road that is leading to many northern states and the 17 southern states. And we are very happy that the president, has given very serious and committed attention to it. And this road today will be flagged off by no other person by Mr. President, represented by his son, very smart son, Governor Dapo.
Road infrastructure plays a fundamental role in the socio-economic development of any nation. The administration of our amiable president has remained committed to leveraging our natural resources and mineral deposits by linking rural roads to urban centers, commercial hubs, and industrial corridors. This strategic approach aligns and reinforces the federal government's renewed hope agenda and commitment to rebuilding, expanding, and modernizing our national road networks, railways, and airports, all which are critical to our country's economic prosperity.
Staying with infrastructural matters, in a landmark move to boost infrastructure and enhance socio-economic activities in the Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta Development Commission has inaugurated the reconstructed Abraka Urban Road and flagged off the rehabilitation of the failed portion of the Abraka Outdoor Road Phase 1, both in Ethiopia East and Oriomo local government areas of Delta and Edo states. News Central correspondent Austin Azu who covered the event in Delta State, reports that the road is an interstate connecting several industrial and agricultural communities in Delta and Edo states.
There is sign of relief for commuters and other road users plying the now reconstructed 9.6-kilometer Abraka-Obe Road in Ethiop East and Orion local government areas of Delta and Edo states by the Niger Delta Development Commission.
This is a major road when it comes to transportation.
The road they give us headache before, but like now, we're very, very appreciative for what they have done.
This road that has been repaired, the people who did it did well, and I commend their effort.
At the inauguration of the project ceremony in Abraka, Ethiop East local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria, the NDDC's Executive Director of Project, Victor Atai, first gives a brief history of the project.
There were incessant attacks by robbers in failed portions of this alignment. With this reconstruction, all these social vices have been completely eliminated.
The NDDC MD and board chairman Sami Ngboku and Chedu Ebie, in their separate address and remarks, recounted what the agency has done for the region since the appointment and inauguration by President Bola Tinubu.
Thank you to the people of the Niger Delta, and I also use this opportunity to beg you to give us more support as we are committed to deliver more projects.
We identify critical projects that impact the people. And so we will continue to do it. I'm proud today because as a Deltan, we're here to represent our people well.
The governor of Delta State, represented by the State Commissioner for Works, Highways and Urban Roads, Ruben Izezi, and Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission, Iratake Boris Swenun, commended NDDC for its intervention roles in the state and region.
His Excellency, therefore, wishes to commend His Excellency, Mr. President, for his support for this board of the Niger Delta Development Commission thus far, and urges him to continue to do more for the people of the Niger Delta.
And I want to thank you, Chairman, MD, for giving our people life. Because with good roads and good infrastructure comes life and light. So I thank you. And I know my people are grateful. Are you not grateful?
The Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, called on the federal government intervention agencies to emulate the impacts of NDDC on projects execution in the Niger Delta region.
To the entire governors in the country, see NDDC and other regional commissions as partners in progress, but not competitors.
The Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, accompanied by other dignitaries, thereafter proceeded to inaugurate the reconstructed 9.6-kilometer Abraka-Obe Road, and subsequently flagged off 7.24-kilometer rehabilitation phase portions of Abraka-Agbo Road, Phase 1. In Abraka for News Central, Austin Azu.
Now bringing more stories where we understand that a tragic incident, 7 people actually were said to have died and 6 others injured in a communal clash in Edo State. The Edo State Police Command disclosed this in a statement on Sunday. According to the command spokesman, Moses Yamo, police received a distress call on February 21 of an ongoing clash between Belemonti and Maidoti communities of Ovia Northeast local government area of the state. Casualties were taken to a hospital where 7 were confirmed dead. The situation has since been brought under control, and Police Chief Betty Otimei pledged a thorough investigation, urging the public to resolve grievances through appropriate channels to prevent further violence. Away from that, the Nigerian Shippers Council has revealed that the Kaduna Dry Port processed and cleared over 500 containers within the last 3 months. Speaking to journalists at the ongoing 46th Kaduna International Trade Fair, Buba Danjuma, director of the Kaduna Port Office of the NSC, highlighted the port's growing capacity. Danjuma explained that the Kaduna Dry Port plays a crucial role in facilitating exports and imports from Kaduna to destinations across the world. He emphasized the NSC's efforts to establish dry ports in inland regions to enhance trade, support regional economic growth, and provide alternative to traditional seaports. The Minister of State for Housing, Yusuf Attah, has warned APC National Chairman Dr. Umar Ganduje against extending Abdullahi Abbas's tenure as Kano APC Chairman for a fourth term. Speaking at a caucus meeting in Fagge, Kano, Attah threatened mass defections if Abbas remains in office, calling it a violation of the party's constitution. He accused Abbas of arrogance and blamed him for APC's 2023 electoral loss in Kano, warning that reappointing him would jeopardize the party's chances in 2027. Reports suggest Ganduje is considering Abbas for another term despite growing internal opposition. Talking about awards now, Chief Government Obezide Ekpe Mopolo, popularly known as Tompolo, and Chairman of Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited, has been named the Security Personnel of the Year by Daily Telegraph Publishing Company Limited, publishers of New Telegraph, Saturday Telegraph, and Sunday Telegraph newspapers. Tompolo says the award held in Lagos will inspire him to further contribute to oil and gas development and nation building in general. Receiving the award on his behalf by Paul Benebi Mimo, Tompolo expressed gratitude to the board, management, and staff of New Telegraph for recognizing his contributions in enhancing the security of critical oil and gas pipelines in Niger Delta.
I want to thank God Almighty, who actually gave Tompolo the enablement to do what he's doing for the country. And also thank the New Telegraph for recognizing him as the Private Security Personnel of the Year. Truly, he's happy, he's elated for the fact that since he received this mandate to secure Nigerian oil and gas infrastructures, which is the life wire for the country, he's happy that it's paying off. Back then, 2022, when this mandate was given to him, the production was around 800, 900, and so on barrels per day. But today, Nigeria has hit the 2 million barrels per day mark, which is very significant. Looking at the budget for the year, you can see that Nigeria will certainly meet its obligations in terms of providing infrastructure for the
Away from that to the fight against fake drugs, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has sealed over 11,000 shops and arrested 40 individuals in its ongoing nationwide clampdown on fake and substandard medicines. Briefing journalists over the weekend, NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye stated that the enforcement had been planned for over a year as a covert operation. NAFDAC began enforcement operations at the Dumota Open Drug Market, the Ariaria Drug Market in Aba, and the Bridge Market in Onitsha on February 10. She said the three markets, which distribute over 80% of medications nationwide, were targeted to eliminate falsified and unregistered drugs. Adeyeye revealed that over 20 trucks of substandard drugs were evacuated from various locations in Aba. At least 30 trucks were seized in Onitsha, and 27 trucks were removed from the Idumota market. She also noted that the next phase of the operation will be to inspect shops individually to identify those operating legally and those who are not registered. In a related development, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested 24-year-old Thai national Patapi Wimonat for attempting to smuggle 43 parcels of Canadian loud into Nigeria. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi said Wimonat was caught during passenger clearance on a Qatar Airways flight from Thailand via Doha at the Lagos airport. She was reportedly promised $3,000 for the delivery. In a separate operation, 68 parcels of Ghanaian loud weighing 42.2 kilograms and hidden in crated cartons were intercepted en route to London. Additionally, 49,000 tramadol pills were seized during a joint inspection at the Port Harcourt Port Complex. Investigations are said to still be ongoing. And now to this. Nigeria is home to breathtaking natural landscapes, yet many of its tourist sites remain untapped. One of such hidden gems is the Karshi waterfall, located at the outskirts of Abuja. Despite its stunning beauty and tourism potential, the site remains largely unknown, untapped, and undeveloped. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, visited the waterfall and brings us more in this report.
Hidden deep inside the rugged landscapes of Karishi lies a breathtaking natural wonder, the Karishi waterfall. With its cascading waters and serene environment, it holds immense tourist potential for the federal capital. On this visit to the location, there were no fun seekers, no sightseers, just an untouched paradise waiting to be explored. As we navigate through the rocky paths leading to the waterfall, the only guide we found was not a tour operator, but a cattle rearer familiar with the terrain.
Mun daɗe a nan, mun kai shekara 8 muna zauna a nan. Kuma kullum idan suna zuwa nan muna bi su mu ma muna zo muna yi abun nan namu. A wurin su ba, muna zuwa tare da su. Ko sun zo ma ko wanda ba su sani ma muna kawo su.
For adventurers and nature lovers, the site offers more than just a scenic view, a raw, unspoiled experience of nature. Many remain hopeful that the waterfall will eventually be developed into a major attraction.
Wurin babba wuri ne, kuma saboda wuri ya zama a mai da shi wuri mai kyau, babba wuri ne, shi ne yasa suna zuwa, kuma manyan mutane ne suna zuwa wuri. Yau ranar Asabar, abin da yasa ba su zo yau, kila ba su samu zuwa ba ko za su zo ko suna da niyan zuwa ba su samu lokacin zuwa yau din ba.
With Abuja's tourism sector growing rapidly, Karishi Waterfalls holds a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. The big question that remains on the lips of many is that will the government or private investors tap into its potential, or will it remain an isolated beauty known only to a few? In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
The news continues in the east of the African continent, where Sudan's foreign minister representing the army-aligned government, Ali Youssef, has declared that the country will not accept any recognition of a parallel government. Youssef made this statement at a press conference in Cairo a day after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces and a coalition of political and armed groups signed a charter to establish a rival administration in rebel-held areas. This development comes nearly 2 years into a devastating war with the regular army, which has displaced over 12 million people and triggered what the United Nations describes as the world's most severe hunger and displacement crisis.
لن يحترف أحد بما يسمى بحكومة موازية للحكومة السودانية. هذا موقف واضح ومؤكد، وأكد لنا معالي الوزير. وطبعا نحن في السودان أيضا لا نقبل أن تعترف أي دولة أخرى بما يسمى بحكومة موازية.
السلامة الإقليمية للسودان هو خط أحمر بالنسبة للجانب المصري، ولا يمكن التهاون في هذا الأمر، وبالتالي نحن نرفض أي دعاوى بالتأكيد لتشكيل أي أطر موازية للإطار القائم حاليا في السودان، ونؤكد على الدعم الكامل للسودان في هذه الظروف الدقيقة وفي هذه المحنة.
Staying in Sudan, the Sudanese army has announced that it has successfully broken the siege imposed by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, on El Obeid, the capital of North Kordofan State. The siege had been in place since the outbreak of the war in April 2023. Army spokesman Nabil Abdallah confirmed that the forces managed to reopen the road to El Obeid, merging with soldiers stationed east of the city. This marks a critical victory for the Sudanese army, as El Obeid is a strategic hub in the ongoing conflict. The breaking of the siege is seen as a key step in shifting the balance of power in the region. We move away from that to Central Africa, where hundreds of Bukavians gathered for a meeting organized by social and political figures from South Kivu to express their support for the newly established AFC M23 authorities. This comes as M23 fighters continue to advance on multiple fronts in the volatile eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo. On Friday, the UN Security Council for the first time urged Rwanda to stop backing the M23 group and to help end the bloodshed. The M23, reportedly supported by 4,000 Rwandan soldiers, now controls large parts of eastern DR Congo, a region rich in natural resources. Their rapid progress has displaced thousands, with the fighters taking control of Bukavu, South Kivu's provincial capital, just days after capturing Goma, the capital of North Kivu.
Bon, vous savez, nous n'avons pas les choix. Nous n'avons pas les choix, la population de Bukavu. Nous attendons surtout à de l'amélioration des vies. Donc, peu importe ce qui peut arriver, mais l'amélioration des vies seulement. Les boulots et tout qu'on sort comme ça. Qu'on donne les boulots, nous les jeunes, qu'on améliore la vie de tout un chacun étant congolais. Un peu ça.
On attaque, on voit des changements qui est concret à ce qu'on a vu, on a vécu bien avant. Parce qu'on avait beaucoup de problèmes. On avait beaucoup de problèmes. Parce que nous, comme les jeunes, on n'avait pas des emplois. Mais par ces dirigeants actuels, on espère qu'on va les approcher et ils vont nous écouter.
Tunaespere changement ikuwe kukila kitu. She bajene tunapata madiplome, tuko ba lisansie na hatuna kazi. Hasa kwa ile tunaespere na shewa tukumbuke kwanza shewe tulisomaka kwanza. Tukwata na makazi kwanza na she tujikutane na she tunaanza kwa nasaidia mafamilia zetu. Parce que tuko ba responsable. Wanakutana.
Outside of Africa, we tell you that as Ukraine marks the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion, President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's willing to step down if it guarantees the country's NATO membership. His remarks follow criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump regarding his leadership. In response, Zelensky has pushed for a meeting with Trump before any potential engagement between the U.S. leader and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Zelensky has consistently insisted that NATO membership must be a key component of any peace agreement. However, the Washington-led alliance has so far been reluctant to make a firm commitment, a hesitation that continues to shape ongoing diplomatic efforts as the war takes its toll.
З останнього, якщо мир для України, якщо вам дуже потрібно, щоб я залишив свій пост, я готовий. Друга історія, можу поміняти це на НАТО. Якщо є такі умови, одразу, щоб довго про це не говорити. Я фокусуюсь на безпеці України сьогодні, а не за 20 років. І не збираюсь бути у влади десятиріччя. Тому це, напевно, мій фокус і бажана мрія.
In sports, ITTF Africa President Eniton Shodi has expressed confidence in Tunisia's preparations for the 2025 ITTF African Cup, calling it a tournament that would showcase the continent's growing strength in table tennis. He highlighted Africa's progress on the global stage and expects a high level of competition. The tournament, a key qualifier for the ITTF Singles World Cup Macau 2025, will take place from February 25 to 27 at the El Menza Multipurpose Stadium in Tunis with a $25,000 prize pool. It will feature top players including defending champions Pordy Aruna of Nigeria and Dina Meshref of Egypt. young talents will challenge experienced stars in the battle for World Cup sports. Tunisian standout Wassim Massid will also look to make an impact in front of home fans.
The African Club Championships is one of our major tournaments in Africa. Brings the best clubs from all over Africa together, and then of course the Africa Cup. Our best players come for this cup, and then it's a qualifying for the World Cup, and that's very important for us. But you know, this is something I've been attending for over 10 years, but the level we're seeing here in Tunisia is a different level. The standard is high. The experience they have from their WTT events, World Youth events, is coming to the fore now, and it just makes one so proud to be an African here.
Away from that, Nigeria's Canaan Queens have secured a spot in the semi-finals of the 2025 ITTF African Club Championships in Tunisia. The Calabar-based team, led by Fatima Bello, Janet Efiom, Cecilia Utuakpan, and Hope Uduaka, battled past Tunisian and Madagascan oppositions in Group 1 before falling 3-0 to defending champions, the Zamalek of Egypt. Despite the setback, they finished second in the group and will face Petrojet of Egypt in Monday's semi-final at the El Menza Sports Hall. 8 teams are competing in the women's category, while the men's event features 9 clubs. Competition manager Ghazi Ben Hussein praised the strong turnout, highlighting first-time participants Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, and DR Congo. The tournament serves as a build-up to the Africa Cup starting on Tuesday. And to Nigeria's Football Premier League, Kano Pillars FC has extended the suspension of technical advisor Usman Abdullah until after their Nigeria Premier Football League Match Day 28 clash with Kwara United. The club's management, led by Chairman Alhaji Ali Muhammad Umar, made the decision during a meeting at the Sani Abacha Stadium on Sunday. The extension follows a request from the investigative committee chaired by Alhaji Muhammad Danjuma Borzo, which has yet to conclude its findings. In the interim, Chief Coach Ahmed Garba Yaro will continue leading the team against Aqua United, Rangers International, and Kwara United. Kano Pillars FC reaffirmed its commitment to professionalism and discipline as they navigate the ongoing NPFL season. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we take a look at some of our top stories again. Osun APC has ordered court to reinstate a local government chairman to resume office on Monday. Heightened security has Lucky Aiyedatiwa prepares for swearing in as governor of Ondo State. We also told you that Sudan's army-backed government has rejected the recognition of a parallel administration. Don't forget to watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, 274 Avo TV. And YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.